children of all ages, welcome to Downloadable Opinions, Episode 4, Part 3, Ubisoft, from their E3 keynote of 2012. I gotta say, first off, I was not present for this keynote address, so I have literally no idea what's going on, other than a few little things that I've seen trailers of that are really freaking amazing.
Which makes my job much more fun, because I get to gloat about what I've seen, and I get to make fun of Ryan for not seeing it. I have to tell you, I did not plan on watching this, or I didn't even plan on covering it live. I didn't end up doing that. I ended up just doing a recap at the end on the Twitter account, because I'm thinking Ubisoft, whatever. Like, it's not even a really that big a company when you think about it. Mm-hmm. They, without a doubt, and I'll say this again in Part 6, they had the best press conference as far as I'm concerned. They had a bunch of surprises for us, and they had really good lineups of games, even for the Wii U, which shocks me because I had no interest in it at this point. So, you know, of course, I did mention this earlier. The first thing that started off was Just Dance 4. So, without missing a beat, next! We actually will start off with Far Cry 3 because we don't care about dance games in here. Far Cry 3. Now, there are only two things you need to know about what was in this trailer. There were boobies and there were wild tigers that you can send on people.
That's really fun.
It looks amazing. The game is as amazing as it always is. It definitely looks a lot less frustrating.
It's going to be an FPS that I think a lot of people are going to have to pick up.
Yeah. They show more in Sony that we'll talk about later because I don't want to spoil it for that because we want to make you watch that too. But there's a lot more emphasis that you're not this victim anymore. You are taking the fight to the guys now. So it really doesn't show anything too new from what we're used to, but it looks great. And the fact that in the level they show, there are wild tigers in cages. You can shoot the cage doors off, and they will attack enemies.
Which I think
the downside is they will attack you when you get too close. But...
Well, hey, I mean, this is like all innovative stuff. This is Far Cry 3, in my opinion, is a very nice departure from what we saw in Far Cry 2.
It was such a hard game, too. The original, oh my god.
The first game, yeah, absolutely.
Enemies could see you through bushes somehow. I'm glad we got away from that.
But it's very open, expansive gameplay.
Yeah, they said 4 different islands that you can search through.
Which is going to be
Not
great.
Not 1, 4.
Yeah. And
they are going big on this one.
You know how good this stuff looks on PC, and you know it's going to be translated well into Sony's PS3 and Microsoft's Xbox. I can't wait for Far Cry 3. It's just going to look really cool.
Okay, so next we had just a quick trailer, Splinter Cell Blacklist. They already showed the gameplay demo at Microsoft, so we didn't get to see too much new. You know, they were just saying, oh, third echelon is gone now. Here's fourth echelon now that they're part of. They're just going through. They take this one hostage from Freedom and whatever else. It wasn't anything revealing. We already saw what we needed to in Microsoft, so it was nothing too special. Really, like I said, there really wasn't much to reveal. It was just, of course, they were obliged to have to at least show something for it. So
it's going to be a fun game. Next.
Okay, so next was Avengers Battle for Earth. We didn't get any gameplay footage. We just got a quick trailer. We obviously got a little bit of Spider-Man. We had Magneto sitting in there. Storm showed up. I'm trying to think. There was one more person from Spider-Man. I think it was Venom who showed up. And then they showed all the Avengers. So you had your Hawkeye, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, and the obligatory booty shot of Black Widow in the tight suit. So we had to expect that. So
is this going to be a kind of like a spiritual successor to Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
I feel like it is. I'm not sure. I didn't end up researching it. I haven't had time to.
We only saw a CG cutscene though.
Yeah, it was just a cutscene trailer, so we don't know what the kind of game is. I'm assuming it's a beat 'em up. I can't really imagine it being anything else. So it'll probably be like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which was a good game too.
Yeah, it was fun.
Those two games and X-Men Legends, I think they were for the Xbox and the PlayStation 2. Those were good games too. I liked. I like that little format because it's nice and cartoony. The CG trailer was cartoonish as well, so it wasn't trying to be realistic, which is nice because we don't need Avengers being a realistic game because we know what happens when you take movie license games and put them in 3D. They end up being garbage. Take Green Lantern, Iron Man, Hulk, and everything else.
Everything else that has a movie related to gameplay or game.
That's almost a challenge for me trying to think off the top of my head the last good movie license game.
Probably
Spider-Man 2.
I would have to agree. That game was awesome for the PlayStation 2. But yeah, it's a challenge to think about that. I think
it's not their fault. The games get pushed out really quickly because they have to match the releases. But still, like, come on, you can't make a less frustrating game, please. Anyway, we move on to Rayman Legends, and I've never played Rayman.
You haven't?
No, actually, I think I might have played it on the PlayStation once.
Oh my
I'm not sure.
The N64 one?
I wasn't a big platformer.
So fun.
I wasn't big on platforming back then.
Rayman.
I was more of an RPG and GoldenEye guy, let's be honest.
Okay.
But Rayman Legends, the only 2 words I can come up with that gameplay demo was effing insane.
Yeah?
Up to 5 players. They showed 3.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have their different things. Like, especially when they showed off for the Wii U as well.
Mm.
Where they were showing how one character you can take with the tablet and zoom around and cut out ropes so you can swing off them. You can take out bridges, take out enemies from underneath, throw them down. But the coolest part, I don't know if this is part of the game or not, but they had you just stream running, like literally just not stopping. And every time you hit something, it would play a new note in this massively epic rock track. And if you, and I know you haven't seen it, if you watch it, you will, once that little section of the game ends, you'll be like, that is freaking awesome. Because it's literally like, it's almost as cheesy as like an Earthworm Jim kind of deal. Because you know that it's like, okay, this is kind of getting ridiculous, but it's funny ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, Rayman is that kind of like continuation of, well, Rayman's Rayman, but it's definitely that nice kind of feel that Earthworm Jim had as well, you know?
That's another game I wish they'd bring back.
Well, it is coming back for, I think, Android.
Okay, yeah, but that doesn't count.
Yeah.
We want legit, like...
another... Yeah, okay.
Earthworm Jim was... Oh my god, I love that.
It was fun.
Groovy!
I feel sorry for any kids that never grew up with that game.
Oh, man. But anyway, we went to, speaking of the Wii U, we went to more Wii U titles. They showed their new hardcore game for the Wii U called Zombie U.
Now,
Whatever.
I caught this for Nintendo's keynote, and this actually looks half decent.
Yeah, they only showed the trailer in this version. I thought it was actually like Dead Island 2 somehow, and I don't think Ubisoft actually made Dead Island.
It like a lot of the
but it was
title
slow
stuff
motion,
looks like it.
Really quick. Like you're thinking, oh, cool, because the trailer for Dead Island last year, it was all slow-mo in reverse, though. So because it was stopped, I'm like, oh, okay, it must be something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, as you agree, it does look okay. It's nice to see the Wii getting a real good zombie game since House of the Dead Overkill, if anybody remembers that one. It wasn't a great game.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of obscene.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's just nice to see that the Wii is actually getting some legitimate zombie shooters, or even something that's a little bloody, that isn't Mad World or No More Heroes, really. So
yeah. It's definitely going to be fun, and it's not an on-rail shooter, which is the biggest thing. It's an actual full zombie game.
Oh, yeah.
Like Left 4 Dead, without the co-op.
Yeah. Otherwise, they didn't show any more trailers. They just showed quick little snippets. They showed how Rabbids Land is going to be there. Your Shape Fitness Evolve will be on Wii U, and Sports Connection, which I'm assuming is like their own version of like Wii Sports. Especially with Xbox, anybody who's seen the Kinect lineup, there are so many Sports Kinect games. Like, there's 12 in one of this, sports this, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, guys. But anyway, I'm going to stop raging because Assassin's Creed 3 came.
Now, this next bit is just going to... This is the meat of everything that we're going to have today. Assassin's Creed 3, now, I haven't seen too much about this, but from what I've seen from Sony's press conference... Wow, this is going to be a big game. Yeah,
they show naval battles in 3, which we'll talk about in Sony's, but in this one, they showed a gameplay demo of you in the wintertime about to attack this this fort, because you got to get one of the guys who's obviously a Templar. The trailer they showed before it was really good, too, where you were basically charging through a field of a war battle. Like, you're charging through, like, 200-something soldiers just to kill this one guy. It was really good. But I'm amazed to see that they're running around open areas that aren't buildings in Rome or anything like that. You're literally going off trees and cliffs. Like, it feels like you're actually outside and not just in a city. I think they're still going to be doing cities, but they're not ridiculously tall like they have the Rome ones. Because in America, we're just starting, so the buildings are really small and they're made out of wood. So you're not really going to be running like crazy on those.
Yeah.
But it was a really intense ending too, because you're chasing the guy down. I think the guy must have played through this like 20 times, because he went through it solid. He ran through, killed a couple guys on the way, took a guy's musket, beat him over the head with it, and then he goes up, grabs a spear, throws it at a guy, and I think he either picks up another one or picks up the same one that he just threw in a guy's chest, and leaps and just stabs the guy at the end. We don't know if he kills him or not. I'm assuming he does, because that's the game. If he didn't kill him, that would defeat the purpose.
Yep.
But the demo was just unbelievable, and at this point in time in this press conference, I had this penciled in as the game for E3 this year, and it was pretty obvious because it was at almost everything. We'll get into it later because something topped it that we weren't expecting, but as of this moment, AC3 was the game.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can't wait to see more of it. and can't wait to pick it up in November. It comes out, correct?
Let me check the list because I still
November
have
or
it.
October?
It is October, I think 30. I don't know if that's the exact date. I think it was made for October. I'm not sure if the
It's
exact
definitely
date.
Q4.
Because the 30th is a Saturday, so who knows? It might be the 26th. Oh, wait, no, I got the wrong calendar up. I want October, don't I?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the 30th does work, so we're okay.
Yeah. The Assassin's Creed has been getting faster and faster with the kill systems and just more intense with all the stuff that's happening. I'm really pumped to see what they're doing with this. But the next thing that you showed me in your list here completely sidetracked me completely, like Trackmania. Those guys. Really amazing racing sim that has, worldwide attention.
Because you think Mod Nation Racers, Trackmania was doing this stuff
long
before.
time ago. And it's one of the most recognized racing games in the industry. Shooting now?
Yep. As we all know, esports is becoming huge now with StarCraft, with League of Legends, with trying to think what else, like with Forza, with shooters, with all this stuff. Because Halo was really the first big one, but StarCraft is also put into that territory. League of Legends, I've never played the game, but it's apparently really popular with esports right now.
Yeah.
But Shootmania has come out to be the first true shooter, at least until Counter-Strike comes on the picture, because Counter-Strike's going to own everything else. But Shootmania, I had no real attention for this one because I'm thinking, okay, it's just going to be something. It's really simple, but when you really watch it and see how quick, how fast, how intense this is, it's hard to believe that this is not going to be a really popular game for shooting experts. They brought in 6 people. All of them, I think one of them wasn't a Counter-Strike world champion, but one of them was a 12-time champion in Sweden. Like there were 2 girls who were Russian champions, one girl who was I think 3 or 4-time world champion, another guy who was like a 6-time champion. So they brought in the best of the best to show this game off. Rounds, it might be different because these guys were skilled players, so it might be a little longer. Rounds went a minute. 1 minute. 1 freaking minute. Not 9 minutes like an average COD game. 1 minute.
Yep.
The gameplay they showed, I can't remember what it was called. I think it was called Storm or something like that. It might even be the map name. I don't know. I can't remember. But what the rules were is that it was 3-on-1. A random person from the attacking team would be selected as the one, and the other 3 would defend. The 3 defending players would have a rocket launcher, and 2 hits on the one attacking player would kill him. But the attacking player has the advantage with a railgun that was a 1-hit kill. So it's not really that hard an advantage, especially because the 3, because it's such a quick game, like they're already encountering each other within 10 seconds of the game starting. And you get launched on this launch pad that flies you halfway across the map to start on, and then you just run at high speed. And just to see how quick these battles went and how intense they were, and they had the what's the guy's name? Something McGee. I can't remember what, but they had the 2 people who will actually announce these things.
Yeah.
Do the announcing for it. And it was. I've never watched esports before, but that was really cool to watch that. To watch, I think it was a 3-1 win for the boys, but like, it was so quick. It did its job. It showed off what it did. And it was intense. I was really, really impressed with that.
And you know what? The biggest thing, and I gotta say this with Far Cry as well, the ability to make your own maps in this game, which is gonna be huge, and we're gonna see like that's what Mod Nation Trackmania is all about.
It was still Mod Nation, to be fair, but we're talking about Ubisoft, not Sony here.
Yeah, but that's going to be a big thing for this as well, and it's going to be amazing to see what people do when the creative control is given to the players. I think, right?
Yep. Okay, so, like I said about 2-3 minutes ago, Assassin's Creed 3 was the game for E3 this year. They brought, I can't remember the guy's name, but they brought somebody new to say they had a new IP, and most of us are thinking, what? You guys are already doing Assassin's Creed? Aren't you busy?
Yeah. And to be honest, new IPs are always good news in terms of AAA titles.
And they started off with a concept. And they said, what would it be like to have an entire city's power in your own hand? We're talking electricity, we're talking traffic lights, we're talking even cell phones. What would that be like to have that in your hands? And they let us sit with that for a little while as they had this little trailer pop up. They were talking about how your digital shadow leaves 1.3 gigabytes of information every day or something, or like the average American or something, every day, every week. I can't remember what it was. But they were talking about your digital shadow, about how anything you leave when you're on the internet is always, or even on your cell phone, every piece of data, and people don't know this. Most people like to assume that everything they keep is private. Every piece of data you send and take is all accessible one way or another.
Mhm.
And that's what this game focuses on, that everything and every piece of technology is at your fingertips. And then all of a sudden, it cuts to the game. I think it was a rainy day at the time, or if it was just a dark night.
It was a darker night.
It was pretty. Just alone, that was really pretty. You're walking around in a trench coat, and even that looked pretty. Like just a regular brown trench coat, and even that looks good.
Well, remember when you showed me the trailer of this, because you said you have to see this trailer, Brian. I was blown away. Like the seamless transition between cutscene and then right into gameplay was literally the HUD just fades in and you're playing.
Well, I mean, you think like when Call of Duty starting at World at War, when they started doing the loading screens where it would actually have story in it.
Mm-hmm.
How it was such a seamless thing where you weren't just sitting there thinking, okay, I'm just waiting for the game, like Dead Rising 2, where it took 2 minutes to upload one map.
Yeah.
But for this thing to go so seamless, I mean, that is good editing. Like, that's somebody was very passionate with that trailer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, they get into it, and I'm literally going to walk you through this demo, because we're only at 16 minutes. Like, we got plenty of time here. He goes across the street, and he goes up to this club, or I think it was a club or a theater, where they were having this art show. And the guy's name was Joseph. What was this? Joseph something.
DLOpinions or something like that. Audio.
Joseph
something.
Joseph de what's his face? We'll call him.
De what's his face.
Joseph de what's his face. Okay, we'll go with that. You go and it's his art show, and you can't get in, or I don't know if you can't get in, or if you just don't want to wait in line because you're a jerk because you have all this power. Why not? So he stands just around the corner from where the security guard is, and he's talking on his phone, just going, "Hey, how's it going? What's going on? Blah blah blah." And all of a sudden, he jams connections. Mm-hmm. Every little bit that's connected to some sort of mobile device, all cell phones go instantly. And all you hear is bump, 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 and everybody in the background's going, "Hello? Hello? Are you there?" And you're thinking, damn, I just did that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Even that alone was a badass feeling.
It feels powerful.
So naturally, as most stupid Americans would do, sorry, I'm not making most stupid, I guess cell phone users. I don't mean anything against Americans, but it's the cliche, like, we still live in igloos and drink nothing but maple syrup. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, of course, the guy who's guarding it, he's on his cell phone, and with instinct, as you think when you're underneath a building, you think, oh, it must be the reception. You walk outside. Mm-hmm. So you're now free to walk in. So you walk in the door, there's a big party going on, you walk around, and you get approached by this guy. And I'm not sure what his relationship is, they don't explain it. He's just kind of asking you, you made him wait 45 minutes, what the hell are you doing here, why are you here? And he says, oh, I'm here for the target. Who's the target? Joseph de what's-his-face.
Joseph de what's-his-face.
And he's like, oh, shit. He's like, well, if that's the case, and he hands him a gun, well, I know it's a stupid idea. And he's like, but why are you doing it? And he's like, oh, you're using yourself as bait. That's a great idea, because that's a stupid idea.
There's some really good banter between this character and this guy.
The voice acting is really solid in that clip. I like that, because it's really realistic. It's not just like, I'm going to go do this. Really? You should do it. No, it's literally, yeah, I'm here for him. Oh, shit.
That's a terrible
Dude, that's a terrible idea. But anyway, he does that, and he says, oh, don't you think they're going to know that you're here? And he, without missing a beat, he sees this one girl on the phone going, oh, I think he already knows. Mm-hmm. So you spend the next section scanning to find out who this person is. You're looking through, and the coolest thing that I liked is...
That was so cool.
Every person that you scan shows a little bit of information about it. And it was really funny, because they put the one guy, and all of a sudden it goes, HIV positive.
Charged with plagiarism.
I'm like, what the hell is this? But anyway, you finally get to the person, and you get to hear their cell phone conversation where he's talking with Joseph de what's-his-face.
DeMarco.
Oh, DeMarco.
I'm trying to see.
I am still calling him Joseph de what's-his-face for this podcast.
Yeah.
It's our running joke for this one, okay? I don't care if his name is DeMarco. It is de what's-his-face, and I'm going to keep it. Anyway, you listen to the banner between that girl and Joseph de what's-his-face, and all of a sudden she says, oh, don't worry, security will handle it while you get over here. And without missing a beat, the guy's name, who I think was Aiden something. Whatever.
Someone.
It was Aiden something.
Yeah.
Aiden to what's-his-face. Okay, we're going to go with that.
Agent to what's-his-face.
Anyway.
But yeah, like, I'm watching the trailer right now again, and he has to leave, and then there's these security guards, but you get, like, a violence probability, like, when they see you.
Slowly, I guess as you close in, the violence probability will increase because they're thinking, oh shit, it's you.
Yeah.
So you run away from two guys, and there's one guy waiting, and it's climbing and climbing. I think it hits about 70% when you finally say, screw it. You knock the gun out of his hands, hit him in the chest, hit him over the head with your little nightstick, and then whack him one more time for good measure.
Yeah.
And the reaction is amazing too. It's not like he's knocked out. He's still in pain, and you hear him just in the background.
He's taken out, and like you just leave the
You can
party.
tell you probably broke his nose.
Oh yeah.
So
the sound design's really stellar in this. Yeah. Everything from raindrops to cars to voices in the background to different conversations that are going on. The sound design is really awesome.
But then we get to the best part.
This is amazing.
I pointed this out to Brian. I said, you need to be very, very watching or very, very wary of what's coming on in this part. He leaves the club because, of course, he's got to get away, and he walks down the street. On your mini-map, you see a blue arrow, and that's the car Joseph DeWhat's-his-face is on his way in. And
you pull out your gun, and you
pull out your gun, you're ready to go.
After you pull out your gun, you pull up this kind of like bandana over your mouth for some reason.
Because you got to hide yourself, even though he knows who you are. But anyway, you pull out your phone again, and instead of, we already saw him jam communications, he shows how you can control a train, apparently, which I think is going to be amazing when we get to try that. But what he does is, as the car's approaching the intersection, he suddenly changes the lights, turns them all green, and every car...
Now, can we stop on that for a second? Just think about the possibilities with this. You can control a train, the traffic lights. I think there was a few other things. But when it comes down to these little set pieces where you have to engage in some action, you get all these choices where every single outcome could be completely different.
And even imagine what you'll get to do in your own free time if it is open world. We're not sure if it's open world yet, if it might just be mission-based like Mafia kind of was, where you don't get to do too much. But you hit the button and bam! I think it was like a good 10, 12 car pileup all of a sudden, including the car of Joseph DeWhat's-his-face.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I guess he came with company, his guards rush out of the car and start shooting. He kills one passerby already with the gun, and you hide next to that car, and you shoot a couple guys down. And another nice little option they put in there is that you can rescue guys in the car that are already in the situation.
Yeah.
The guy's flipping out. He's like, oh my god, because his buddy next to him is dead with a bullet in his head, and there's blood all over the windshield. He's flipped out. He thinks you're going to kill him now.
Yeah.
And you finally say, get down, go low, get out of here.
Get out. Yeah. It's really cool.
And you keep going. And the part that I think you were like, holy crap, the most, is you flip over one car, and then you, almost like a Smoke and Aces kind of deal, or even like, what was the Shoot 'em Up?
Shoot 'em up, yeah.
Where you literally dive across the car on your butt and shoot him twice in the face, and land on your feet while grabbing his rifle. Which looks like they're getting into the big action sequences too, which was really cool.
You know what's a little bit sad? I think the guy you rescue, you shoot his wife. At least his girlfriend.
Oh, did we shoot him?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's even worse.
That's just
collateral damage.
Collateral damage. It's a little bit of emotional.
If anybody remembers Dead Rising 2, the end boss of that game would call them necessary losses. But but anyway, you finish killing a couple guys. I think a gas station nearby blows up because there's a big fireball. And then you finally get the guy. You knock the window out with your gun, drag him out, throw him to the ground. And he's like, "Do you know what you're gonna do? Do you know what doors will open? Will open
and never close? This is suicide."
And he's like, "Okay, fine, but you're gonna send me a message." And he's thinking, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna live. Just okay, I'll say anything." And just, without missing a beat, he's gone.
Yeah.
And it ends with the cops coming towards you. I think there was two different trailers, because what I saw at E3 and what I showed you with the trailer when you pull up was a little bit different. Yeah. Because what he does in the one that you watched is he takes his phone out and activates the bridge, so he raises the bridge up so he can jump off it.
Yeah. There's driving elements in this game, which makes it lends credence to it being an open world.
Which kind of feels like Grand Theft Auto, Saints Row, Mafia, whichever.
But this is a much different take.
This is a much different concept.
Yeah.
But what I saw in E3 is that at the end, you hear other people in the background going, Aiden to what's-his-face, he's getting chased. And it shows at the end of the trailer, it shows, I think, at least 5 different points around the city where I'm assuming, I don't know if you get to play as them or if you get to call them in like you get to call in like airstrikes or your buddies in like Saints Row, where you might be able to call in help for somebody to distract people while you're trying to get away or that kind of thing. It's like how, I guess, in Assassin's Creed you had the girls that you could hide in between, or you could sit on the bench and hide there, or you had delinquents go out and start fights with guards to get away, that kind of thing. And that was it, and that was Watch Dogs.
I can't.
And I literally had to probably stop for a minute to really sink in what I just saw, because the concept alone had my attention. And then when they showed the game, I want this game. But the problem so far is we don't know what console it's going to be for. They issued a press release, and IGN, I think, was the one who reported first on Twitter, said they haven't listed a console yet. I would like to assume that because Ubisoft has done Assassin's Creed, especially for PC, PS3, and Xbox, that's probably what it'll go to. Maybe Wii U as well, but who knows?
Well, the one thing I'm really hoping is that this is not a proof of concept. Because this is an IP that I think would have a lot of it would be able to do a lot.
I have a feeling that it won't be, just because the reaction from this. It was the number one thing trending on Twitter worldwide at one point. Because I was on Twitter all evening.
Yeah.
That was one of very few things at E3 that trended number one worldwide. Watch Dogs was one of them. Which tells you that hit a lot of people's nerves and got them very interested in this.
It is. And you know what? There's also a point in the trailer where there's a QR code on someone's head. You can actually scan that, and that does take you to a website. And the website is for Joe or the whatever face is.
Yeah. Which again is cool.
Yeah. Well, in the trailer, you go to this kind of art gallery, which was supposed to be Joe's thing, and it says request if you want to buy tickets, you can get tickets to it. All these different things, but this is very much like all these augmented reality kind of games where
breaking the fourth
wall into reality. It's going to be interesting to see what this website does in the future.
I really, really hope that they not only make this reality but stick to what they've shown. Because quite simply put, if they can get a bigger buzz than Assassin's Creed 3, which already had a massive amount of buzz because it was an American Revolution. It was a whole new, different concept for the series. And if they can get Watch Dogs to go beyond, and I don't even mean just a step up the ladder. Literally, they kicked Assassin's Creed 3 off the ladder and jumped to the top in one fell swoop, like Matrix jumped to the top.
Yep.
They have my attention. They have your attention.
Yes.
They have probably a lot of people who are listening who watched E3. They have your attention too. They have millions of people's attention right now, and anybody who hasn't seen it yet, I guarantee you their friends have been saying, you need to watch this trailer. If there's anything that you need to watch from E3, you need to watch this.
This is a winner of E3. Just if it's not your top
I know,
5...
This is a spoiler alert, but this is my game.
Yeah, this is one of the big things from E3 this year.
This was the Halo 4 surprise from last year.
Yes, absolutely.
Without a doubt.
So anyways, let's finish this podcast up. Winners, let's just do yours since you've seen everything. What do you think?
Okay, well, I'm sure you're going to be very surprised by this, but number 3, it was going to be Rayman Legends, but now that I really had some time to think about it, Shoot Mania really has my attention, and I hope they actually do televise these things. I know they do have it on, I can't remember what the station they listed was, or the website that at least shows them on. I can't remember. But they already have it going, but that looks really interesting. Assassin's Creed was going to be number 1, but unfortunately I have to relegate it to number 2 now because Watch Dogs fucking owned E3.
Yes, absolutely.
My losses, these are going to be a little weird. Number 3 was the crowd for this press conference, and I know that you haven't watched it, and I'll explain why. The hosts, or at least the main host, was Aisha Tyler, who is a brilliant comic. But the co-host, backstage co-host, is somebody that you like a lot, Toby Turner, a.k.a. Tabascus.
Tabascus, another reason why I'm really pissed I missed this conference. Tabascus is awesome.
They had a lot of funny banter.
Yeah.
Like the Shoot Mania thing, the game between the 3, it was to see who would get to host the rest of it. Naturally, Toby Turner won, but she's like, oh yeah, but unfortunately, I don't actually have the power to make you host, so you're just going to have to go now. And Toby's like, aw. But the crowd was silent. And I felt really bad. It almost felt like the situation at the Donald Trump roast. That's how silent it was during those jokes. I mean, some of them were kind of lame, but I mean, it's like when Aisha was, because I said in the last podcast, talking about how she got girlwood after seeing Assassin's Creed 3, which she said. And Toby's like, I think I did too. You got girlwood? And Aisha, without missing a beat, goes, yeah, of course with you it's girlwood. But some of these things, and you didn't hear anything. I'm like, oh, come on, guys. Really? But anyway, number 2 was Avengers Battle for Earth, and it's not really a personal thing. It was more just because I like to see that they're bringing an Avengers game, but I don't know what it is. I'm kind of disappointed that they just showed kind of a few characters plus the Avengers, and then that was it.
Yeah.
I wanted to see a little bit more.
It was a cash-in, really, to get the attention from
But number 1, it was a 5-second part on this podcast, but Dance Games. Go away.
Stop it.
Stop.
Just stop existing.
Because Just Dance is at its 4th, Dance Central is at its 3rd. I know, I mean, even Star Wars has its own dance section now. But I'm sorry, I think that either this generation or one more generation will be the end of it, the same way that Rock Band and Guitar Hero killed itself.
Yeah.
Especially Guitar Hero. Rock Band wasn't so bad. They didn't go too overboard.
Yeah.
Guitar Hero was releasing like 2 games every year.
Harmonix does need to bring it back, I think, back to frequency and amplitude. And if you haven't heard of those games...
I think they are planning on doing a game like those.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
If you haven't heard of those games, though, check them out because they were Guitar Hero and they were Rock Band before all this stuff happened, and they were fun.
And just as a side note, people who understand Guitar Hero, I used to teach guitar. Imagine how many kids I got who thought they could play anything just because they played Guitar Hero on like medium. But anyway, as much as I'm not a good dancer, so I'm not really interested in it, but the fact that there is such a discrepancy, or not a discrepancy, like a massive amount of these games, because they had, the only exception to that rule for me was the Michael Jackson Experience, because that needed to come.
Yeah.
Because since he wasn't there anymore, you had to put this out while it was still fresh, and because the moves were still there and people were still practicing it.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you, 5 years down the road, you're not going to have as many impersonators or guys that still know the dance moves really well.
Yeah.
So it was a good idea. But all this other stuff, it's getting ridiculous now.
I agree. Anyways, that's it for Downloadable Opinions for the Ubisoft keynote. Check out the next one, which is going to be the Sony keynote, which is going to be a bigger podcast altogether for this.
Maybe it might be short. There was a lot of short little things we'll touch on, but there was a couple big things. And I'm going to have one of the most frustrating fails for the losses for this one, so stay tuned.
All right.